Hello everyone, hope you had a great weekend. A little bit of a slower start to the week so far today on Monday. Obviously over the weekend we have the SPCE Virgin Galactic successful launch on one of the test flights, and that's great and all, and the rocket took off into space. It was all good, but unfortunately the stock did not do the same. If anything, the stock SPCE tried to take off at the open and just had an emergency landing. Boom. And that's why I'm wearing this shirt today. No bounce city. Without further ado, let's just dive straight into the trade. So SPCE, this is what I was talking about. On Friday, the close kind of weak around $49. And, over the weekend on Sunday, it was where they had a successful launch. That's great to know. You can see the stock gapped up pre-market to about like $55 and just slowly faded off. If you guys remember from last week's recap, I really talked about how I would be more bearish on SPCE after the launch, especially if it becomes one of those sell the news event. And that was true today. Not only was it sell the news event, but also they filed for a $500 million shelf offering. Today, this morning pre-market, I think just a little bit before the open. And, I'm really like sad looking at this because I didn't want to chase. At the open, I had thought that it was gonna pop to test at least the 52s for a more better risk reward short. But you can see at the open, this thing just tried to take off like a rocket. At the open, from 51 to 51.50s, tried a little pop and just couldn't break out to the stratosphere. So it just tanked to previous day's close and tanked from 49 down to 46. This happened within like 5 minutes of the open. It's very difficult for me to short and chase into the weakness. So unfortunately, I didn't catch any of it until this big bounce around $44.50. On the 5 minute, I had waited for it to tank from 46 down to 44, thinking that they're just gonna retest the highs to 48 or at least previous day's close, $49, but no, it was just extremely heavy. Like I said, no bounce city. So I shorted some into the pop, 44.50s. I even added into the weakness. I was a little bit too aggressive on the ad. So I took some profit here. I re-added here. Basically, when I'm shorting, when it's already so low and SSR is already triggered, when I short these stocks, I'm going with a lot smaller size and wait for the intraday resistance to show up. You can see in this case, it pretty much lines up as VWAP around $44.30. So that's why, yes, I did short add into it and I re-shorted. Added bigger around 44.20s on these like mini bounces. And if you notice around the 44s, that's where the stock really struggled to hold. Yes, it broke out to 44.30s and tried to like consolidate around 44s. It just tried so hard and it just couldn't do it. It tried for a while from 10:30 all the way to really 11:30 when it finally gave up. And at the same time, I also gave up because I got too impatient with the stock. The whole thesis was, yes, short around the 44s, but I was looking for the fade, which is doing right now, to $41 and potentially below to $40 and $39. So there might be more play on this in the afternoon, but for me, it's really hard to re-short into this kind of weakness like this. So yes, I did cover into the flushes, covered some when it seemed like it was going to break out and re-shorted it around 43.30s and also out most of it 42.90s and had a final scalp around 43.90s, covered into 43.20s, and the stock finally cracked another half an hour later. So this really could have been a bigger trade for me, but instead I kind of just covered for like smoke profit. A little bit frustrated with that, but at the same time, it's just very difficult to short weakness for me because I'm always scared of getting trapped in these kind of short squeezes. Next stock is SPI on the short side. This is a small cap stock that traded many times in the past on the short side. And the reason is because each time it gaps up, it's very clear on the daily. Each time it gaps up to around, over here, so 11 and 12s, it gets sold into and tanks. Again, around the same level, $9, $8.50, each time it gaps up, it tanks. So I think I was short on this day or this day, I don't quite remember. But you can see it's exactly the same area. So today, this thing gapped up. I didn't short it at all pre-market. I was waiting for it to show a clearer direction, but you can see pre-market it went from $7 to $7.90s, almost $8. That's kind of the area I was looking at for a potential short. Didn't quite get there. At the open, just tanked, kind of like SPCE. So for me, when it feels like I'm chasing to the short, so I had very, very partial positions. 740s, we shorted around 720, 725s. So after all of the short, the chase, I had an average about 730s on small size. I was covering into the flushes, covered 711, 708, and the best cover was 703. And once this thing popped over VWAP, I just put a break-even stop on this, so I just got stopped out over here. And you can see after I get stopped out, this thing went a bit higher, sure, to 735s, and then just tanked even lower down to 670s and 640s. So this is and also another case of no bounce city. So another trade I did is on the long side for a loss. So MTSL, this thing, it's a very, very low float. I was thinking that we're in the current market environment where we're seeing a lot of these stocks up on no news, but relatively smaller float. That's kind of continuing for day one and day two breakout. Some good examples are MRNA, CARV, and today we have that's stock SGOC. So a lot of these names were up on no news. They're purely just up on hype, and a lot of these are small cap momentum plays with high volume. So MTSL, it's a loss. You can see I lost about 40 cents a share. I got in thinking that they're gonna curl up and consolidate above VWAP and squeeze out to potentially higher days or even higher. Just didn't work. I didn't buy the breakout at the open. You can see this thing tried to test 810s, tried to test 890s at the open, just dumped all the way back to like 690s and $7. And I like this higher lows around 7s, and that's why I got in. 737, I even added 740s, but with the stops under $7. That just didn't work. So I got stopped out here around 692. So for a loss about like 45, 50 cents a share. So that's my loser on the day, and it was on the long side. So that's a little bit frustrating taking a loss on this. But the other stock I traded, this is actually my biggest winner on the day. It's MRNA on the long side. So you guys know that I'm very familiar trading MRNA, Moderna. And on the daily chart, this is a very bullish chart. So you can see higher lows on the daily went from 160, broke through prior all-time highs, 180s, went to 227s, had a dip around 195s, reclaimed $200, and now we are again today testing all-time highs breakout. So I actually wasn't watching this as main watch until it triggered one of my alerts around 134s over here. 134s, why is that level like the level I have alert set? Because that's kind of, if you look at the daily chart, ignore the chart today, that 134s, that's the prior resistance here. Right after the stock sold off from prior all-time highs, 245s, all the way down to consolidate 130s, you had to see this mini pop over to 135, 134s. So that's kind of the resistance area on the daily. In order for the stock to break out above it and go test the prior all-time highs, it needs to break above this resistance with volume. So I had a trigger set, and I see the volume coming in. Ideally for Moderna, this is still like not the highest volume I've seen. So when I see a stock that, yes, I'm interested in the long, but the volume is not there yet, I go in with like a starter size. So starter around 134s. And then once it starts holding up, this is where I keep on saying on these large cap stocks, it's okay to buy high at the breakout and buy even higher as the trend continues. So decent entry, small size, and I didn't add until once it's holding over 136s. And that's where I got to most of my size, 136, and that's after that I have 136 average, decent volume, and then selling volume. If you look at on the bottom of the chart, it's relatively lower than the buying. So that's something you want to see if you are buying for these kind of big moves and big breakouts. But for me, I was looking for even more volume on Moderna, which on the big breakout days like this day and especially this day, it needs to trade a lot higher than just 140,000 volume every 2 minutes. Usually it needs to trade double that amount to continue the very clear breakout. So that's the reason, yes, I sold some into this and sold even more and added back one at 137.90s, 138 pretty much for that little dip, and that's the reason I got out all of it at 138.90s. This is still a decent play, along from 134. So that's pretty much $3 a share average after my full size here. But I wasn't convinced that it's just gonna go straight to 145s, which it's doing right now, but on extremely low volume. So when the stocks are trading these kind of low volume and just kind of chopping on the way up, it really could just keep on doing the chop up, or they can rug pull midday with the low volume and just drop. So I've seen that on Moderna before. So that's the reason I was kind of trying to be more cautious and just be out at 139. And this thing is just literally just grinding up to all-time highs. If you look at the chart for the volume, right now it's trading at 20,000 shares only every 2 minutes. That's very low for a large cap stock. So that's the reason I just kind of took the profits and didn't let it ride out. But we'll see. I think we might see more play on this tomorrow on Moderna and also SPCE as well. Okay, it's time for our Q&As. I do realize I haven't done these Q&As where I answer your questions for a while in the recap videos. So if you have questions, and hopefully the ones I haven't answered yet, please leave them in the comment section below and I'll try to answer them in the next video. Okay, so the first question is from Peter O. I see you're watching a bunch of stocks at one time. If you see a setup forming on 2 different tickers, do you execute on both, or if you are in one setup at one time? So for me, I'm very comfortable executing on 2 setups or 3, sometimes even at a time, just because that's the beauty of having multiple screens, so you can watch them all together. And that's really the big reason people have these screens, is so you can watch like up to, for me, I can watch like 10, 15 stocks at a time. And if I see a setup forming, I'll execute them on my execution screen. So I'm comfortable executing 2 or 3 at most. I try not to go above 3. Usually that's where things could happen and I make mistakes. But 2 is a pretty good number. 3 at most. It's rarely that I go over 3 at a time, unless I just have partial positions left. But if I'm full size, I prefer to just have 2 at most at any given time. But I think if you are a brand new trader, it's good to just focus at 1 at a time. I think this will come with experience. Once you are comfortable, entering just 1 stock and taking profit and watching the price action, you'll be more comfortable slowly with kind of expanding to maybe 2 trades at a time or even 3 eventually. Second question is a broker question from Ocean K. Shay, thank you for the video. What is the best broker you suggest except for TradeZero and TradeStation? So the broker I use, that's the one you guys see on screen right now, is Cobra Trading. This is a broker account I have with the most amount of capital, and it's the one I use day to day for day trading. So if you're interested in signing up, they only take accounts over $30,000 above PDT, of course. If you're interested in signing up, you'll get 25% off your commissions if you sign up through my link down below. And again, I use this broker personally, and it's a great way for you guys to get some discounts on your commissions as well. Some other brokers I also recommend are Centerpoint Securities or Interactive Brokers. So those are also broker accounts I have, but I don't use them every single day. Final question is, where did you get that shirt? I want one. These t-shirts, including the one I'm wearing today, Short Squeeze City, and all the other ones that you've been seeing in my last couple of recap videos, they are exclusively available on my website, humbledtrader.com. These are really fun designs, and I hired an illustrator to design exclusively for us. So I think it's really fun. If you guys want to check them out, you can check them out on my website again at humbletrader.com. Thank you guys for watching as always. If you guys have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section below and I'll try to answer them, either just replying your comments or in the next recap video. Stay safe out there and I'll see you guys next time. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and the bad jokes. If you want to see more day trading content, make sure to subscribe and follow me on Twitter and Instagram for more. If you'd like to trade with me daily and get my free weekend watch list and trading journal, make sure to check out the links below for more resources. Stay green, stay positive, and I'll see you guys next time.